All right, what is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I have a confession to make. I completely forgot that we had Friday night hoops last week, and I forgot to make a video about it. I did not preview the games at all. I did not even mention the games, and now it's Monday, and we have even more games. So, kind of backed up on games. Um, I do want to talk about the um the Magic versus the Celtics and the Spurs versus the Grizzlies a little bit just to give my thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on the Spurs and Grizzlies. Um and then we'll preview the games that are coming today, Monday, literally a couple hours away. 2 p.m. hoops, early day hoops, which is great. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment them down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. And yeah, I made an error. We haven't had Friday night hoops in a long time, and I didn't even really think about it. I didn't really think to check. Um, but I did watch the games. I was flipping through the channels, and I was like, "Oh wait, is that NBA basketball?" And I was like, "Oh no," and it had completely slipped my mind. It had just not even entered my mind because it hadn't happened in so long. We haven't had Friday night hoops, but now we have Friday night hoops, and now it's Monday, and we have afternoon hoops because the college football playoffs, the championship game is happening tonight. So the NBA kind of snuck it in there right before that stuff comes on. But nevertheless, I do want to touch on a few things from the previous night of hoops, including that when I was watching this Magic Celtics game, the Celtics gave it their all, man. Um, did I say the Celtics? I meant to say the Magic. The Magic gave it their all, man. If I said it right the first time, then whatever. But the Magic tried to give it their best, but the Celtics had um, way too much firepower, and they were fully healthy. You know, in Paulo's return for the Magic, um, well, his recent return games, he's shined out. He's been very good. He tried to match Jason Tatum tonight or the previous night, and he really just couldn't do it by himself. And those are really just the plain old thoughts I had just watching the game. I'm not going to read any numbers, not going to get any stats right at this moment. Um, I do really want to talk about the Spurs Grizzlies battle. I am going to try to keep this video short, so we're just going to run through this. But I will also try to keep it entertaining. Um, it the it was a battle. They were really going bucket for bucket all the way up until the end of the third quarter, and then the Grizzlies just took it over. They really just took it over. No Jaren Jackson Jr., no Desmond Bain on the court during that time. It was just the bench guys, and the bench guys were moving the ball. They were playing the right way. Threes, diving to the baskets, cuts, um, everything. Ja Morant did not play this game at all. He was in street clothes for the Grizzlies, so it was just Jaren and Desmond Bain. But they didn't need Ja on the second night playing the Spurs. Um, it was really good to see because this Grizzlies team has always been questionable to me. Like they never seem to be healthy. Like somebody's always out. Um, but when they were snapping the ball like they were, that's a dangerous team to play, especially on their bench. So yeah, good win for the Grizzlies. Um, the Spurs. This is the part I really wanted to dig in on here. Um, I still have questions about Victor Wembanyama's shot selection and the dependability of some of the shots he's taking, in the sense of he doesn't quite know yet, and this is his second year in the league. He doesn't quite know when he should take a three or when he should or when he should back to the basket, or when he should do this. He's just putting up the shots. And the main issue with him having to put up the shots is he's putting up bad shots. Not because he wants to put up bad shots, because he just has to put points on the board because he is the team's best player. That absolutely just comes with the territory. Sometimes when you're the only real dependable scorer on a team, you have to make those sacrifices of, hey, I'm gonna take a whatever plus 3-pointer, I'm gonna just heave this one up, and that's gonna be that. Um, I will say, not to say he's the only scorer, but Stefan Castle. I'm so impressed with Stefan Castle. I really like his energy. I like his grit. Um, Making a fan out of me for sure. Um, but I do think now the Spurs have enough assets to go out and go fishing a little bit. And by way of that, I mean go out and get somebody, um, or a piece or two. And that brings me to my next point. It doesn't need to be this year because you obviously having some internal things going on with the Spurs. Coach Greg Popovich isn't there; he's still dealing with his medical issue. Um, there are times where I was watching this game and I was like, "Damn, the Grizzlies are going on a run. They should take a timeout. Why isn't Pop taking the timeout?" And I remember Greg Popovich isn't coaching right now; it's the interim head coach. Um, so there's that. But this team needs something else. It needs something to take that next leap. It needs something else, and I think you've drafted enough good guys. You've seen enough out of these guys to make a fair assessment of who you should keep and who you should trade. Because you're never going to be able to keep the whole young core together and win a championship with the whole young core. I mean, the the, the rare examples of that are like the Celtics, the Warriors, and even in those cases, the Warriors are really the only one because you kept the core together for as long as you could, for as many championship runs as you could. The Celtics traded Marcus Smart right after they lost to the Warriors. And granted, he wasn't a part of the young core, but he was a part of the core. Um, so you need to make these adjustments and elevate yourself to a certain standard, and keep elevating yourselves. And I just feel as if the Spurs, not that they haven't done it or they haven't looked into it, but I'm going to take the initiative and I'm going to put my 2 cents into it and say they need to make a trade this year. Um, and I think the answer is Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans. Um, I've drawn up a few trades here that I will get into. We're gonna just do the basic one, which I think would make the most amount of sense just realistically. Um, and like I said, some of these trades are gonna include Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans and other players from other teams, just one other player. Because I also feel like um, the Spurs do need a ball stopper. They do not have a ball stopper in any capacity. And even the ball stopper they do have, like the people they do try to throw on the other team's best player, is young, and you kind of need more. You need a more seasoned scorer to take the load off Wembanyama, and you need a more seasoned defender to take those assignments. Um, and I think the trades I've drawn up here encapsulate all those things. Let's just get into it. The first one here, Brandon Ingram to the Spurs in exchange for Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins. Straight up. Just money matches. Obviously, you would include picks and stuff in these trades. I normally don't include picks and stuff in my trades. I kind of just do it straight up, try to match the money. And then the picks are the picks and the swaps are the swaps, and so on and so forth. I think this straight up is a great trade. Obviously, the Spurs would get who they want. The Pelicans would sort of reset their timeline a little bit and take on Keldon Johnson, who is a great bit younger than Brandon Ingram, who is a bit more of a is a bit can be a bit more of a catch and shoot player next to Zion, next to Trey Murphy, next to all these guys. Um, and you reset the timeline a little bit. You buy yourself a little more time. Keldon's on a 3-year deal. And then obviously you bring in Zach Collins, another big, who can stretch the floor a little bit. He's on a 2-year deal. You could just trade him again next year. He would be an expiring contract for a championship team. And the next one I liked. I'm doing these in the succession of the way I traded these guys. Um, the next one involves the Raptors. Now, the Raptors suck right now, so I want to make that very clear. So they're not looking to contend. They're not looking for asserted pieces already. They're looking for like workshop players, like guys that can grow a little bit. So again, Brandon Ingram for the Pelicans for Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins, and then the third team, the Raptors, gets involved and they trade the Spurs Davion Mitchell, a defender, a ball stopper, at least in the guard spots, and the Spurs give up Blake Wesley and Sidney Sissoko to the Raptors for Davion Mitchell. I like this trade. The only thing about this trade is that it does put the Spurs in a bit of a bind having to pay two of these guys. They have to pay Brandon and they have to pay Davion Mitchell after this season. So it'd be a 1 year, like half a year rental for them. But I think it would help improve their overall competitiveness. Um, I think Davion just is on the same deal that he is right now, the same amount of money. Brandon obviously wants a long-term deal, and you can give him that, and you can give him the security of playing on this team next to Wemby for a few years. And then if something else arises, you have a contract in Brandon Ingram who you can trade for a better piece down the line. These are things you also have to think about when doing these trades. Is you have to make a contract big enough and fat enough to say, hey, we like Brandon, but if something else comes along, let's go get something else. It's like the with the Knicks. What the Knicks did this last off season. They liked Julius Randle. They liked Dante DiVincenzo. But Karl Anthony Towns became available, an all-star caliber player, one of the best 3-point shooting bigs ever. You gotta go get him. I don't care how much you love Julius Randle or Dante DiVincenzo. You do that trade every day. Every time that trade comes across your desk, you do that trade. So you also think about that when you re-sign Brandon and you get Davion Mitchell. These are pieces for down the line as well, to compound and get even better. Because like I said, you have to continually get better. The goal right now is for the Spurs to make the play-in or the playoffs. That's the goal right now, and I think Brandon Ingram and Davion Mitchell would help that. Obviously, we went over the Pelicans. The Raptors get some workshop guys, get some guys you can fill in a little bit. And then the last one, this was the one I felt like a big brain genius. I felt like an NBA GM. Um, Again, keeping the Pelicans and the Spurs, Keldon, Zach, for Brandon Ingram, and then you get the Utah Jazz involved, and you bring in Colin Sexton for Harrison Barnes, matching the money just about. I think I think going into the future, like future, I mean like 2-3 years from now, a backcourt of Colin Sexton and Stephon Castle, mwah, sounds beautiful to me. Sounds beautiful, beautiful. Because Colin is used to being a second to third option, but Colin hangs his hat on the defensive end. And uh, if you haven't looked into Colin Sexton's numbers, he's 18 points a game. He's 18. He's good for 18 points a game. He's vastly improved from his time in Cleveland. Um, he's been kind of sitting in Utah, nobody really minding him, you know, and you sort of speed up your timeline for the Spurs. You know, you bring in This is exactly what I was talking to a seasoned defender and a seasoned scorer. And with the bonus of getting Con Sexton instead of Davion Mitchell, you get a more reliable bucket at one of the guard spots to go with Stephon Castle a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. Um, and I think that would be absolutely beautiful for the Spurs because you can't just rely on Wemby. You can't rely on Wemby to just be the filter for the bucket. You need somebody to actually try and stop other teams' best players. And Colin Sexton only stands at 6'3", but he plays so much bigger. He's guarded threes, fours. He's guarded LeBrons. He's guarded the Steph Currys. Um, he's guarded a lot of these good players, these great players. And I think this is the optimal deal for the Spurs. Now, is it realistic that the Jazz would take on Harrison Barnes? I don't know. I, the Jazz are just so weird. They don't know what they want to do. Like they re-signed Laurie Marketing this offseason for a huge contract, but like the team isn't like improving at all. They're kind of just sitting where they've always sat, which is middle of the pack to bad. And maybe they're just waiting for something to happen in the trade market. Harrison Barnes isn't that thing, but I mean he's only on a 2-year deal. He'll be expiring at the end of next year. You can always get rid of him, send him to a championship level team, a team with championship aspirations. Harrison Barnes isn't a bad player by any means. He's on this Spurs team to be a vet, but I think you would sacrifice veteran presence for a more reliable teammate. Because Brandon Ingram's better than Harrison Barnes, and Colin Sexton is better than Harrison Barnes at this point. So yeah, those are my thoughts and mini trade machine moment in for the Spurs. Now, quickly, we can talk about um, the games coming up. It is Grizzlies and the Wolves tonight, and Warrior not tonight, this evening, this afternoon, I should say, and then the classic that's been on your screen for them for all of this video, Warriors versus the Celtics. I'm just gonna pull this up real quick just so I know where they're playing. Um, so the Wolves are in Memphis and the Celtics are in Golden State. That changes some things for me. Um, Wolves versus Memphis. Ah man, I'm gonna take the Wolves. I like the Wolves. I like the last time Ja and Ant played a week ago, maybe a couple days ago. They both put up bad games, but I think Ant is gonna have a better game. Um, I just said a lot of good things about the Grizzlies, but I like the way the Timberwolves are heading. So give me the Timberwolves. And for this Celtics Warriors matchup, I do want to dive into the numbers a little bit, just very quickly. Um, the last time they played, the Warriors won 118 to 112 Celtics. Um, could the Warriors repeat some magic? This was a very different, not a different team, but just like the energy was different for the Warriors. And I believe they're, um, you know, I just, I just don't, I can't buy into this team like I thought I could earlier in the season with this same matchup. I just can't buy into it. But they are at home. The Celtics have been a little rocky. They are the champs, though. Um, last time they played, Steph Curry at 27, Andrew Wiggins at 16, um, Kyle Anderson had 11, Buddy Hield had 16, Jonathan Kuminga had 10. Um, they didn't shoot the three ball the best, and I think that'll be a similar story this time unless Steph Curry goes absolutely nuclear. But like the Warriors won by the skin of their teeth, and the Celtics did not have Jaylen Brown. That's a big game changer for them because they have to switch their lineup to almost play, and they didn't have Porzingis. So the Celtics are essentially healthy. The Warriors are just without. I didn't even check the injury report. I should probably check that. Let me check. Um, the Celtics or the Warriors are just without the Anthony Melton. They've been out. They've been without him for a while now. It's not really a game changer for him. Celtics are fully healthy as I'm recording this video, and Draymond Green is going to be out, and Jonathan Kuminga is out, and Kyle Anderson is out. Oh, wow. I'm glad I checked this. Um, Here's my caveat saying all this stuff. Just a few more numbers for the Celtics. Jason Tatum 32, Nemez Queta 14, Al Horford 10, Derek White 26, Payton Pritchard 16. Um, Unless Steph Curry goes absolutely nuclear, like I'm talking crazy game, I think the Celtics have this. The Warriors are just unhealthy. I'm so happy I checked the injury report. Um, the Warriors are just so unhealthy. They have no like all of their defenders are essentially injured. Um, and it's just Steph Curry and company. Um, if Steph has a bad game, this is a blowout. If Steph goes nuclear, goes crazy, it's still going to be a tight game because Steph Curry is just going to have to put on his backpack and carry this whole team versus the Celtics, which is just Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, uh, um, Kristaps Porzingis. Like he's going to have to deal with everybody. So yeah, give me the Wolves and give me the Celtics this afternoon. And yeah, that's the video. There is gonna be another video out because I already had one scheduled um, for today. Kind of slipped my mind that we would have hoops this early in the week, um, but we do, so I'm happy. Check out that video too. I'll put up a. Well, I can't put up a card. I'll put up a card at some point. At some point, there will be a card. Not when this comes out. This will probably come out an hour before the other video. Um, but you guys will get two videos today on Monday, and then it is Rivals Week, so there'll be a lot of more hoop. There'll be a lot more hoops, and be busy this week. So stay tuned. Check everything out. Um, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Cheers.